Hi, welcome to the Easton Training Center in Littleton Adult Advanced BJJ curriculum. This is Professor Peter Straub. I'm Coach Nick Maverick. The advanced curriculum will be in 2-week repeating units. The units will consist of 1 to 3 techniques and a flow drill. The flow drill will not always match the current techniques, but the students will use that flow drill for up to a month, giving them time to master it. The flow drill is also to be used for the warm-up, so it'll be cooperative and easy going. So the first flow drill is this. So what we did here was Professor posted on my shoulder. I went under the tricep, changed my level, step in for the single, step, step. Right away, as I come down into the half guard, he pummels under my armpit. I catch that pummel with my chest, with my weight over the elbow. I keep my elbow tucked and reach back with the C grip for the wrist, forcing it down to the mat. If I can't make my grips right away, I fan my hand here over the forearm, pull up to the shoulder line, and then make my grips. I post my head on the mat, my hips high. I make a wedge on the inside of the knee, shake my knee loose, come up high over the head for the T-Kimura, and come in tight. Now when he sits up into me, I bring this knee through the space on the bottom. This leg, as though he's defending my back take, comes up hamstring to shoulder next to his neck, and I hook this hand. I roll over to the other side, leading with my knee, not my foot, with my knee up close to his chin, and switch my grip, wrist to wrist, hug to the chest. I make my triangle, hand assist if necessary, shoelaces to the spine, finish the triangle. Rotate to the shotgun armbar setup, lean back, and taps. Now, technique number 1 is going to be the side Kimura. Side Kimura is the basis for the entire Kimura system, so it's really important that students understand the mechanics of this. Sir? Now, you can set it up the same way. When we come to side control, he frames and then bumps and pummels, but I have to rotate to catch this pummel, all right? So again, I'm on my toes here. With my elbow tucked, I slide back up the forearm, make a grip on the wrist, and force it down to the mat. Now, this is really important. When we make our grips here, we have to understand that this lever is here, open your hand, to here. But if I make my grips here, I'm losing something in terms of stability. So, this closest place to the end of the lever where I can make good grips is here at the wrist line. So, I take my middle finger and I put it over the crease in his wrist. Now I take my own middle finger and put it on the same spot on my wrist. It's important to note that thumb in, thumb out in this context is optional. There are times when it matters, but here it's just a style choice. So I like to go thumb out here most of the time, and I like to have this elbow as far up towards the shoulder line as is possible. Now when I get all of this set up with my elbow down on the mat, I shift to like this quarter sit out, right? So I'm not sat all the way out, but I'm bringing my knee close to Professor's head. Now I'm going to use this elbow, my left elbow, which is my pull arm, to pull Professor's back up off the mat and expose his back, at which point I'm going to stuff his hand behind his back. Now I can flatten him back out if I want to, but I'm okay here. Now I have to beat this shoulder line. What's important here is that we have pressure diagonally across his torso, from the shoulder here to the hip here. So my elbow is the wedge at this hip, but I have to beat this shoulder. So if he puts in a frame on the hip, I have to do something about that. So what I do is I come up high and I dip my left hip so that his wrist is collapsed to the mat, and then I bring my left knee towards his ribs. Then I'll use my right foot to back step and switch my hips. Now I've got his arm trapped and I've got my hip on his shoulder. So all I need to do now is sweep my elbow out towards his elbow, and you'll notice that the grip gets a little bit weird right here, but it doesn't really matter at this point, right? My elbow is out towards the end of the lever, and I just sweep my head back towards his hip and pull for the finish. Good. So there's one inherent risk to this particular setup, and it's when I pull Professor's back up off the mat, I'm pulling myself back at the same time sometimes. So it gives him an opportunity, albeit brief, to sit up into me and roll me over. And if that happens, he's more likely to be able to get his hand from here to bring his head up high, maybe step over my head. But either way, he's defending the Kimura in such a way that it's actually going to injure me if I don't just let it go. So if we get all the way to the point where we've made our grip set up and we lose it that way, it's a lot of wasted time and energy. But there's something that we can do to stop that. So we'll just go to our, okay, here. When I get to here, I'm gonna pause. When I get to here, I'm pulling Professor's shoulder so that his back is exposed. The problem is sometimes I pull, he sits up, and now I'm here. And then worse, he's able to get his hand in front of his stomach, raise his head up, and this is a problem for me. This is a spot where you can really get your wrists and thumbs injured pretty badly. So I know that from experience. So when Professor sits up here, I'm just gonna relinquish the position, but I'm gonna put my head, and this is the most important thing, and this is where students are missing this detail. My head goes here. I don't let him come up over me and then try to roll him over. My head goes here, my legs just sort of fall off the side as he sits up. So here and here. When we get to here, it's really important that his hand is still behind his back. When I'm here, I'm gonna let my left leg just kind of go dead in front, and I'm gonna use this to push him back over. I follow, switch my hips, step over, finish the Pummel. So one more time. That's unit one. Thank you guys. Thank you, sir.